I don't know how much space I have on this phone, but I'm a little sketched out. Like, I saw a police car stop down the street there, and now it's stopped at the intersection back here. I think it's still sitting there, so I'm kind of bothered on two levels, because one, I feel like there might be some criminal out on the loose, so I probably should get home. But it was like, it was driving along slowly, and then it saw me and just stopped. So I'm like, I know I have a friggin', a selfie stick on me. Does he think like I'm a killer with my selfie stick? Because I was just doing a vlog, which I have the video on my other phone. So I don't know, so I pulled out my crappy phone. You can probably barely understand what I'm saying because the video or the audio quality is so terrible with this phone. But yeah, I'm a little bothered right now. I feel like, I don't know, I can't see the intersection anymore, but that really unnerved me a little bit, and it smells gross out here. I'm just gonna get home while the getting's good. Steve the Amateur Historian. Hi everyone, Steve the Amateur Historian. Look at how pretty the house I'm in is, because as of now, it is that festive Christmas season. I don't know what season it's going to be by the time this video gets posted, because I don't post these in any real specific order, usually, and I usually don't post them anywhere near when I actually shoot them, so it is confusing. I'm rambling a bit because I made the horrendous mistake. I decided for my New Year's resolution I was going to cut energy drinks, and I decided to start doing that a little early, and because of that, I developed some caffeine withdrawal, had horrible headaches and just body pain, and just had no energy, which I know passes, but they say moderation is the best way to deal with trying to cut back on that stuff. So I went out and put a little bit of caffeine in me, you know, maybe 400 milligrams or so, about half of what I usually have, and I have so much energy, and I'm so irritable, and I was taking it out on my editing software, and to be honest, taking it out on my girlfriend a little bit, and I said, I'm just gonna go out and vlog for a while. But it is really cold out here. I actually don't know how long my phone's gonna last before it shuts off, just to save it from getting fried in this weather. But the coldness that is among us, it's only going to get colder, and the fact that I can see my breath, the coldness, the winter season, the nighttime atmosphere gave me the idea to bring you guys another story video. Usually I'm in it's a movie room, but you can call it my red room, because I always have a red wall behind me, which I think adds a little touch to the whole fact that I'm talking about a lot of, like, you know, murder and crime cases and whatnot. But this one I'm outside because I need to get the edge off, so to speak, and this atmosphere is perfect for the story I'm going to tell. This is one that I discovered on a true crime blog that I actually found a lot of stories on, and then, you know, expanded my research from there. But this one was from this same blog. I think it's called like True Crime XL. It's a lot of blog posts from like 2012. I can tell that it was a blog that got posted on regularly and then just kind of stopped, and it's just kind of sitting there. But a lot of stories from Oregon, a lot of stories from the 80s. This particular one takes us back to 1991. You gotta watch your kids. I remember this time. I was 6 years old, or I turned 6 in 1991. And I remember my mom would let me go to the park, go to the store, just because my best friend's brother was taking us. Mind you, my best friend's brother was like 8, and I'm like 4 or 5. I mean, the danger was still there, just people didn't pay as much attention to it. You could go around and be a little kid, especially if you lived in a small town. And the story I'm about to bring to you guys comes from a small town, Stevenson, Washington, which is right on the border of Oregon and Washington. It's right along the Columbia River, and it kind of starts going up into the hills, so you have a lot of cool kind of wide views viewing down towards the Columbia River, the valley. And back in 1991, it was January, I believe January 26th, 1991 to be exact, and a young woman named Amy Dexter, 15 years old, she tells her parents she's gonna go out for, you know, a little night date, hang out with her boyfriend. She dresses moderately warm, apparently not remotely warm enough to, you know, go with the conditions. I mean, it was mid-Jan or late January. It was really cold. It was apparently below freezing. And in a small town like that, again, you don't really have too much incentive to worry too much about your kid leaving home. So their daughter's 15. She leaves on her own, presumably to go out with her boyfriend. She leaves, and like so many sad stories begin, she never comes home. And it's a total mystery what happened. She's supposed to go out with her boyfriend. Her boyfriend says, "We didn't meet up that night. I never saw her." And apparently he was never seriously considered as a suspect. Maybe he had an alibi, maybe he was home. But nobody knows what happened to Amy Dexter. And this small town, Stevenson, I was gonna say Stevenson, Oregon, Stevenson, Washington, goes into an uproar. It's freezing cold. If she's still alive, you know, you almost have to hope she's inside somewhere, because if she's just stranded out in the cold somewhere, they're right along the fringe of, you know, mountain range and forest. If you get lost up in there, nobody finds you, you don't know how to get home, you know. And again, she only dressed mildly well enough for the weather. Like, she would have, you know, froze to death out there. So there's a time limit on this, you know, in the hopes of finding her alive. And, you know, surrounded by so much desolate open space, and there's not really anything to go on. You don't really know exactly where she was going. You know, you got a lot of space to cover, and you don't know where to begin. You know, search efforts obviously did begin the moment that she went missing. And it slowly came out that there was a guy named Christopher Bradley, who I believe was 18. And I want to say he was a senior at Stevenson High School, which would make Amy Dexter either a freshman or a sophomore. And it started coming out, you know, as they're trying to figure out any possible suspects in this case. It comes out that Christopher Bradley was this guy that had really been trying to get Amy's attention in, you know, the months before her disappearance. He was a guy that obviously had a major crush on her and was really trying to get her to go out with him. She had no interest in the guy for whatever reason, and she had a boyfriend, so the guy should have, you know, screwed off as far as, you know, civilized people are concerned. And so this guy becomes at least a person of interest. So the authorities go to talk to him about what happens, and it comes out, I don't think from him, I want to say somebody who knew Amy said that she had told that person specifically that she was going to she wasn't going out with her boyfriend. She was going to go out with Christopher Bradley. But she was going out with him specifically to tell him, hey, back off. I'm not interested. I'm in a relationship. Let it go. Which, of course, somebody who's going that hard after you, going out alone with them just to tell them to get away from you is never the best idea. But this girl's 15. You know, and maybe she was trying, she was probably trying to let him down easily. She was just trying to keep the situation from blowing up. And so, of course, that story gets out, so they go and talk to Christopher Bradley. They want to get his side. And he tells this story that he admitted openly that he did pick her up, and they did go out for a drive together. And he didn't really discuss any of the details, at least none of the details came out in the information I saw. They apparently were just driving around, and they ended up on one of these kind of beat up, rural, almost logging type roads that are just kind of scatter into the hills around this town, like 3 miles or so away from Stevenson. And once up there, they get stranded. And according to Bradley, Amy Dexter essentially says, you know, I know where I am. It's all downhill from here. It's a couple miles. It's kind of cold. I'm gonna walk home. She may have said she was gonna hitchhike, but I don't feel like she would hitchhike if it was only a couple of miles. And according to Christopher Bradley, she went her way and then he went home. And until the authorities came and spoke to him, he didn't even know that she had gone missing. So this is, you know, fairly suspicious, and we're kind of left at a standstill. But at least the authorities have a little something to go on now. They at least know that, you know, they know that they got stranded. They were able to decipher where they were stranded at, so they could start focusing their search between that area and Amy's home, where presumably she would have been walking. And they still have no luck. A lot of it is very treacherous terrain. I believe it was such a difficult search that one of the people who was involved in the search actually like slipped and tumbled, and I think broke their knee and like strained some ligaments, like caused severe leg damage. So this was not an easy place to traverse, and so you almost have to wonder how hard would it have been for Amy. I mean, presumably she knew where she was going, but there's continually no success. Christopher Bradley is standing by his story, and as I talk about crime, there's something going on down this street. I don't know what, but that's interesting. Keep you posted on that. I mean, probably not. And the search continues and continues, but there's no real success. And it gets to a point where even the local authorities are kind of having to pull back, and it's almost just the citizens around town are maintaining the search. And, you know, while the search is going on and time is going by, one of the most, it would have been super easy to miss, is what the searchers said. They saw a little piece of clothing sticking out from what was clearly some somewhat recently disturbed dirt. And they got a little closer and immediately noticed that this was obviously clothing that was on a body that was buried under some dirt. So before they touched it and messed with what was now the discovery of, you know, a body, they actually called the authorities, and the authorities came out, and lo and behold, to nobody's surprise, it was the body of Amy Dexter that had been buried there. So you've now found a body in moderately close proximity to where Christopher Bradley says he took her, and needless to say, they want to talk to him again. And I'm also turning down the street because there was a very large man lumbering in the shadows across the street there, so I was not planning on going this way, but here we are. I don't want to get messed with. And I believe it was presented very quickly. It was able to be established very quickly that the real story, and I don't remember if Christopher actually openly admitted to this. He might have, or it may have just, I mean, he would have had to have confessed to this, because nobody would know the details other than him, because the only other person involved is Amy, and she's long gone. And as the altered story would ultimately bear it out, they both decided to walk home, but he escorted Amy. That's the main change in the story. And apparently, he said just out of nowhere, by sudden impulse, he just attacked her and brutally assaulted her. And that was kind of his attitude, was just, it just hit me all of a sudden, out of nowhere, while we were walking down the hill, to just attack her. I don't know if I believe that. That sounds like, I don't know, maybe somebody trying to come up with some kind of insanity defense. I can't control my mind, it makes me do crazy things. I think this guy was walking a young girl home that he really liked. He was pissed that she was rejecting him, as a lot of people that go crazy and kill women do. And they're walking along and it's just them way up in the hills, and he had an opportunity. She was a easy victim of opportunity, and he took advantage of that, and that's what I think really happened. I don't think he just suddenly got an impulse he couldn't control and attacked her. That's a bunch of stupid nonsense. And yeah, he attacked her, and then apparently, you know, as a lot of these dumbass young criminals, they rape someone and then they're like, oh no, well now what do I do? You know, she's gonna turn me in, so I guess I have to kill her. And he stabbed her. I want to say he slit her throat was how he killed her, and then he buried her in this very shallow grave, so shallow that just over a couple of days her body had kind of become unearthed. So that's how that story ultimately went down. Was this young guy had an opportunity, and it was easy to just, in the dark of night, in the cold, which makes it sound kind of strange, that this young woman was made a victim of. And you know, again, it's so easy to say back then, people were so much more trusting, especially in small towns, about their kids being alright if they went out on their own. And now we know better, and yet there's still so many cases of parents who turn their eyes away from their kid for a second, or they say, oh, she's just going to the corner store, oh, he's just walking down to the track at the high school, they'll be fine, in the dark. And then those children are never seen again. It's really that easy in the cold of the winter. This being a winter from 27, 28 years ago. And I just saw one guy standing down the street back there in the dark, and a guy back there in the dark, and I'm hearing police sirens, and I'm starting to wonder if maybe all this police activity, maybe they're searching for someone who hasn't been quite apprehended, because I'm hearing lots of sirens. Maybe you're hearing it too in this vicinity. See? So I'm wondering, at this point, now that I've finished telling you this really sad, tragic story that happened only like 40 miles from here, that maybe I shouldn't be out here right now, if I'm being honest. I definitely wanted to get some of that pent-up energy out and tell you a story that went well with my current surroundings. You know, it was only a month after Christmas, and most of the people's decorations were down and when this all happened. But anyway, till next time, guys, I think I'm gonna beeline it home now. I'm a little suspicious. But anyway, guys, till next time, remember to watch over your kids. And remember, also, slightly less significant, to like, share, subscribe my stuff, help keep the channel growing. I would appreciate you and love you till the end of time. I see another person in the dark over there. But yeah, and also remember to hit me up on my Patreon. Put the link in the description with this video if you want to help me out financially a little bit. And it's a lot of noise, but yeah, all that said, this has been Steve the Amateur Historian, and I'll see you next time. Oh. You can't hear it because there's cars right behind me, but I'm really kind of wigged out right now. I keep hearing the sirens getting closer and going away, and I don't know exactly what's going on. I was just hoping to get my phone to turn back on for me, because it died right when this officer pulled up. As I was finishing my vlog, I could see the lights getting more intense, and then the cop pulled out, and it saw me and like slowly came to a stop, and I was really kind of unnerved by that, because I'm like, you know, they could be looking for someone, you know, maybe they don't know exactly who it is. Are they gonna, am I gonna get accosted here? You know, I mean, I have the vlog I just shot. Obviously, I'm not going around breaking the law, I don't think. I'm like, yeah, I've got my selfie stick. Like, are they gonna think I used that to beat someone with recently or something? I don't know, but it was, and I was really happy. A car pulled up to the intersection, was waiting to turn and let me cross in front of them, so I was like, good. I mean, there's a car right there. If this officer is going to accost me, it's going to be in front of these people. But yeah, it was parked way down the street when I was vlogging, like midway through my vlog. I was seeing a lot of strange people, kind of shadow people, not like real shadow people, but people who I can only make out them by, they were just in the darkness. So I don't know. They're like, I'm hearing sirens over here, over there, back there. That police car was obviously driving around very slowly, like it was like they were searching for someone. So I really want to go to the store, but now I'm like wigged out. Like, I don't want to get grabbed. I don't want to become someone's hostage fodder. Yeah, fucking I don't know. Is that a person? No, it's a tree. I'm just like, I'm kind of, well, I think I'm getting some of that pent-up energy out of me, I'll tell you that much. I'm definitely a lot more gathered than I was when I started vlogging, because now, like, my fight or flight reflexes are kicking in. But yeah, I mean, I'm going to keep this thing running till I get to my front door, so worst case scenario, there'll be evidence there of who abducted and murdered me. Anyway, I keep looking over my shoulder. I keep thinking someone's gonna leap out of a bush. There's some guy in town who's hiding in the darkness from the police. It's not beneficial to me personally when I get done telling a story about someone who decided to go out at night and got murdered, as vastly different that story was from my present circumstances. You know, just going out at night and telling a story about someone who was murdered at night, and now I'm in danger. I'm gonna die in the night. Okay, my house is right up here, so I think I'll be okay. I think, being the key operative term in that vein. I am legitimately, like, I don't even want to talk anymore. I want to just listen. It seemed like it was way off that way, and I saw a guy in one of those old, like, Geo Metros start their car up and very slowly turn around and started going down the street towards me, way back over there right before I got my phone to turn back on, and that kind of wigged me out, because they were like just moving very slowly. I'm like, are you gonna pull up next to me and shoot me? Are you the guy the police are looking for? Anyway, so unless they're hiding in my bushes, I think I'm gonna be okay, because here I am. I made it back from whence I started this vlog, and I am still alive. So anyways, a little additional piece for you at the end of that little story vlog. Me avoiding death at all costs. So anyway, guys, I already told you about the subscribe.